in editing after I watched a film called The Blair Witch Project. I don't know. Why does that inspire laughter in all of you? That film wasn't edited. But yeah, I looked at that film and I saw, like, that was the first time a film or any kind of visual medium had sort of inspired sort of interest in, well, you can actually take something as an already established concept and edit it and rearrange it and tell a completely different story. Because originally, if you actually do any research into the Blair Witch Project, the stuff they filmed, it was a very different, as far as the characters were concerned, it was a very different story. And I just thought, wow, you can just take something that's, you know, it's real and it's there, and you can just change it if you see the right pieces that fit in the right places, and that inspired my interest in, like, film and editing. Then, as far as YuGiOh is concerned, I started watching that when I was actually supposed to be watching Pokemon. Supposed to be watching.
Figure.
Yeah, and the first ever actual experience with YuGiOh I had was I saw the movie poster in the theatre, in the cinema, and I thought, that looks like the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Why would anybody spend money to watch something like that? And yeah, then I saw it on like a Monday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, just before Pokemon came on. And it was like the tail end of the episode where Marek watches Ishizu lose to Kaiba and turns to all the other characters and like, now you will face the wrath of blah blah blah, my trading cards. Ow, my face hurts. Yeah, ow, my face. And yeah, why? I just remember watching that thinking, why are they making such a huge fuss over this card game? And I thought, what is this, some sort of Pokemon thing? It doesn't look that impressive. And then I actually thought, you know what, as a laugh, I'm going to sit and watch one of these episodes. And it was like the Yami Bakura versus Yami Marek duel, and I was actually kind of like, wait, why are these guys fighting? It's not like Ash Ketchum who's trying to be like, I want to be the best. It's like, I'm going to kill you.
I'm going to send you to the Shadow Realm because we can't say that on Kids WB.
Right. We didn't have Kids WB, we had Sky Television, which had all the most popular cartoons and TV shows. And basically, I watched it and I thought, well, that's interesting. And then I kind of got hooked because of the characters more than anything. Because I started watching at that point, and then they went into the whole Noah. I don't know if any of you have actually watched the original series, but they go into the series where Noah Kaiba shows up, and they go into this whole backstory for Seto Kaiba, and it's like, these characters aren't just sort of doing things because the script says so. They're doing things because they actually have, like, backstory and motivation, and there's something interesting going on with these characters. And then toward the end of that season, they went into the Battle City Finals, and then I learned, okay, so it's also marketing a trading card game. I didn't realize. And then I kept watching it, and they had, like, the first 2 episodes online for free to watch. And I watched those, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to start collecting this, and I'm going to stick with it, and I'm going to see what happens. And I collected the first 2 seasons on DVD, and I was into it. I mean, I still am. I'm into it now, but I'm not quite as, you know, like, wow, this is exciting kind of thing. Yeah, I wanted to get involved with the YuGiOh fandom, so I thought, well, you know what, I have an interest in editing and video making, and I kind of do these crazy voices because I used to, when I was in school, I used to make fun of the teachers that would, you know, take me, like, for Latin class. I had one teacher who was like, again, please, like that. And it was just, I would imitate these voices to make people laugh more than anything. It wasn't like I didn't hate the classes or the teachers. I wanted to, it got a reaction from people. And that's something I've always been really, really fascinated by, is the reaction, especially as far as humor goes. And I wanted to do something that would make people laugh, that would involve video editing, and it got me into the YuGiOh fandom. So I mean, I thought, well, I have all these YuGiOh DVDs lying around. Why not just, you know, dub over it and edit it to the point where, you know, I'm sort of telling my version in a sense, but telling the same exact story and telling it in a way that's entertaining to other people who may never have even seen it or even know what it is. So yeah.
By the way, did you? Sorry to cut off. So there was somebody you think in the credits of the movie that, like, got you into YuGiOh specifically? Was there something like that?
There's somebody called My Aibo on, they didn't get me into YuGiOh specifically, they got me into the YuGiOh fandom because she's a mother of 3, and she's more into YuGiOh than her kids are. And yeah, she was a really, really nice and supportive person, and she's been friends with me all 4 years since I've been doing this, and she was with me before I was even a big deal, you know, quote unquote. Yeah, it's just I posted the first episode of YuGiOh Abridged, thinking, you know, it would be cool if maybe 12 people watched it. And then a couple of weeks later, I realized people actually still want me to keep making this. I'll make another one, and then I made those first episodes in the space of maybe 2 hours. And these days, I agonize over them over the course of like weeks and maybe even months. But yeah, it picked up. It got to the point where, you know, I had 1,000 subscribers. And that was subscribers. But it was a big deal to me to even people to even care that I was doing something, because I tried several times online to make people to create something that people cared about. Like you've seen some examples of that with some of the art that I've done with like various different comics and stuff. And there was a period on the internet where everybody had a webcomic, and I had 5, and nobody read them.
5?
I had 5 webcomics. I had 5 webcomics going at once. There was one called The Tongue. There was one called The Pharaoh's Sex. There was one called Peter and Nero. There was loads of them. It was ridiculous. It got to the point where I really couldn't keep track of it, and nobody cared for them. And it got to the point where I was like, you know what? It's no big deal. I'm just going to stop. And then I just stumbled upon YuGiOh Abridged, and wasn't trying to do anything that was significant. And people really responded to it, and it's really blown me away. They're just doing something that, you know, I thought I would do for fun, and something that, you know, I really wanted to do, not because everybody else was doing it. It picked up, and, you know, people sort of, it registered with them that kind of the thing I was going for, and, you know, the humor really seemed to, you know, it struck people, and it was really amazing to watch it all happen. I mean, when I saw people posting about the YuGiOh Abridged on the Penny Arcade forums, even though they were saying, "This is the most retarded thing I've ever seen," I was like, "They're talking about me!"